Well, good evening. Welcome everybody to our monthly school board meeting. As our custom, if you will stand with us, please, and we'll do the pledge in a moment of silence led by Mr. Spivey. Again, welcome to the monthly meeting of the school board. The first item on the agenda this evening is the director's contract extension. At this time, I'm going to yield to Mr. Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to commend the director on a job well done so far. Very pleased. And to that end, I'd like to make a motion to extend the contract to June the 30th of 2027. And that is my motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Hughes, second by Mr. Jones. Is there any discussion on this?
I'd just like to add a comment if I could.
Yes, ma'am.
It has been, as a 30-some-year educator myself, I know that coming into this role, as you go from any role, whatever it might be, whether it's teacher to assistant principal, assistant principal to head principal, on to supervisor, whatever, there's a huge learning curve. And I just want to say, Mr. Carter, that I am proud to watch you grow into the position. Every month at each of our board meetings, I have been witness to you learning our system, our people, our policy, and taking ownership. And I just want to say I appreciate that very much.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
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 Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Is it okay if I say something real quick? Sure. I just want to say that this opportunity is, and I appreciate what Dr. Rouse said, but the people who are out here that serve here at Central Office, the principals, the teachers in this community, they really get the credit for taking me in and growing me and catching me when I'm about to fall, moving my foot to the right so I don't step on landmines, and then kind of supporting everything that we're doing here. And so, although this is an extension of my contract, I think it's really an extension and appreciation for everybody in this room and what they do every day. So thank you all. Thank you.
Moving on with the approval of the agenda, we'll approve the consent agenda. Remember, when you approve this, it approves the whole consent agenda as a whole. Can I get a motion to that effect? Motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Robinson. Any discussion? Ms. King, ready to vote?
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Dr. Rouse?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Public comment on agenda items. I don't have anybody wishing to speak on anything on the agenda. Is there anybody here to speak on agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move on to the communications to the board and the director's comments. I'll turn it over to Mr. Carter.
And just say thank you again to our board. I appreciate the faith you've had in me so far, and I plan on continuing to grow and learn, and got one of the best teams to learn from, so it makes it easy. And then thank you for your support. I've been able to call on each of you in different instances, and had nothing but great advice and leadership from you, and support for what we're doing here in Sullivan County. And so many great things that we're going to be recognizing tonight, celebrating things that have happened in the past, in the last year, but then also going forward, things that are continuing to grow and be successful. So thank you for that. Also noteworthy, mention the dates for some upcoming events. We have spring break scheduled for March the 25th through the 29th. Testing, our state mandated testing for grades 2 through 5 will be April the 15th through April the 30th. And then grades 6 through 12 with our EOCs, that testing will also begin on the 15th of April and will continue on through May the 3rd with our EOCs. Graduation dates. Sullivan East High School's graduation will occur on May the 16th at 6 o'clock. And then Westridge graduation will be on the 18th of May at 7 o'clock. I'd like to invite everyone out for those to celebrate and recognize our students for the accomplishments that they've made this year and getting ready to send them off for their next chapter in life. And so it's fast approaching. It'll be here before we know it. Let's see. In addition, we have some celebration to do for our schools who recently have been recognized as reward schools for their excellent scores and performance last year on their TCAP test. And so we're going to bring them up and have a principal or representative from the school come up and recognize those. Chairman Price, would you give me a hand with that? All right. Also under our director's comments, and we named this one our Spotlight on Learning tonight. We're going to showcase our culinary arts program. Recently participated, both high schools participated in a culinary challenge over at the Bristol Motor Speedway. I'm going to ask the instructors to come up and give us a little information about that. Come on up, and then introduce your students and have them come up and stay as well.
I'm Chef Angel Welch. I'm from Western. I'm Chef Nikki Holbert. I'm gonna have the kids come up too, if that's okay. We went with East, and I think East has some students.
Yeah, let's have the East High students come up as well. Mr. James, you want to come up with them? I think our instructor was not available this evening. Right, so Mr. James is like me, we're really good in the kitchen. We like to eat what's in the kitchen. We don't necessarily cook everything in the kitchen.
As far as the culinary challenge went, I want to talk a little bit about the competition and then let the kids share just a second of what they made or how their thoughts and feelings on it went. But the kids have to create 3 dishes, and they have to do 5 plates of those dishes. So we have a salad, a soup, and then an entree. They were required ingredients that they had to use, and then they had to create a lovely little packet that went with it. And in the packet, they had to have their menu, their recipe, the cost analysis, the breakdown of what dishes, then breakdown of per batch if you were in a restaurant, what your food cost was. So it wasn't just, oh, let's go make food. There was a lot of other components that went along with that. They each had to have a dish, a picture of a dish. So when the judges got their dish, they looked at it, what it should have looked like, and what it looked like right in front of them to see if they had issues or problems. So their whole packet ended up being, ours ended up being right at 28 pages. So it wasn't just filling and showing up for free. There was a lot of work that went into this part of it. The written portion, having to describe your menus, write those menus. It was not an easy task. And they had extremely little time to do it, a couple of weeks to prepare for it. So for us, East is a little bit different, but for Westridge, you get 1 team per school. There are 3 chefs. So we had 2 water students, 2 chef Asian students, and 2 of my students. And then we kind of collaborated together as chefs to do that. But our team was a little different because it was comprised of all 3 programs that we had at Westridge. And then I'll let the kids talk a little bit. So this is my second year doing this competition. I could say that it's definitely met a lot of students this year. We definitely break out some of the kids and work on these 2 different stuff. The first dish that we share is the gochu. So it is the chicken set and beef soup with the 2 sauces dressing and topping with the grill. Over to the side, we have the ginger milk. So I know we all had a long time doing this. It was a lot of fun to get to go out and cook and see what all happens in the family.
This was my second year cooking for this competition. First year, didn't go smoothly, trying to figure out everything, stepping up and execution-wise. And as a team, I think we bonded really well. And I think we kind of, I didn't know everybody at the start very well, and now we guys are pretty good friends of mine now. So for entree, we made a seared ahi tuna. It was coated with black and white sesame seeds, just sitting on a bed of Israeli couscous. Under that was a radish that we cut very thinly, so you could see really good. There was a hair carrot orange on the side with a shallow cooked carrot covered as well. There were 2 sauces on the plate. And there's a sweet Asian chili and a piece of garlic, pepper, and ginger puree.
That's a mouthful.
Not to memorize.
For us, it was our first time doing this competition. So it was a bit of a chance to do
Anything? Anyone have any questions for culinary arts students? I can tell you the food was amazing. Everything was great. Even the stuff I really didn't know what it was. It was good, real good. Thank you. Let's give them a big hand. I think they're going to make their way out. If there's anyone else who would like to leave at this time, you're more than welcome to. It's a good exit. Thank you to all of our staff members and teachers for being here this evening and supporting our schools. Thank you. Moving next into unfinished business, we have adoption based on TSBA's recommendations for policy 6.202 homeschools. Just need to make a recommendation to take that on second reading.
Further recommendation, can I get a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Hughes, can I get a second? Second by Mr. Jones, any further discussion? We're ready to take the vote.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Dr. Rouse?
Yes.
Mr. Spivey?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes. Next, 7B, property updates. Couple of items. We discussed the Henry Har Road property and that we do have some interest there. And so we're going to look at reopening that for a 2-day period to let it be reopened for bids. And also including that some information about the contract and what that actually might look like. So we need to vote on that.
You've heard the recommendation from Mr. Carter. Can I get a motion to that effect?
I make a motion that we, excuse me, make a motion that we authorize Mr. Carter to set a date for the reopening of the bids for Henry Har Road and to talk with the legal folks concerning the restrictions that we want or what we want in the announcement. And I would recommend a 2-day opening on that, but giving Mr. Carter the authority to decide when it is to set that and get it advertised appropriately so that we can see what bids we get.
Motion by Mr. Jones, can I get a second? Second by
Second.
Dr. Rouse. Any further discussion? Ready to vote.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Dr. Rouse?
Yes.
Mr. Spivey?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
All right. New business. We have the E-rate contract, which is annual renewal with for our internet and all of our services through technology. The one that, letter B, we have the safety equipment purchase, and just like to ask the board's permission to go forward with bids, to receive bids on that purchase, and then also a committal to up to $300,000 from the fund balance, if needed, to complete that purchase. Well, if A's going to take a vote, I guess I better slow down and just go A first, E-rate contract.
Can I get a motion to approve the E-rate contract?
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
A motion by Mr. Hughes, can I get a second? Second by Mr. Robinson, any more discussion? We're ready to vote.
Dr. Rouse?
Yes.
Mr. Spivey?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Then letter B for the safety equipment purchase.
We discussed this earlier in our meeting. Can I get a motion to approve this
I make
purchase?
that motion.
Motion by Dr. Rouse, second by Mr. Spivey. Any discussion?
I'd like to amend the motion so that we would be passing the resolution to ask county commission approval to spend $300,000 to go ahead and get that resolution written and send it over to them and have it ready. That's up to $300,000. That was in the original recommendation. But that way, if the bids come in as we think they might, we'd be ready to award the bids and could spend that money.
Thank you.
Accept that amendment?
Dr. Rouse would have to accept my
Do you accept that
amendment.
amendment? All right. Any more discussion? Ready?
Mr. Spivey,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Rouse.
Yes.
For letter C, that particular item, we're having our innovative school model grants, which is through the CTE department. Those are coming in. 2 of those bids have came in over what was originally budgeted. We don't have the final details on the Westridge, but we do know that the Sullivan East Middle School project is going to be over a considerable amount, around, Ms. Madgett? There we go. I didn't write that down on that note, 356. So what we may need to do is have a special call meeting before the April board meeting on April 1st. We may need a special call meeting in there to determine about the Westridge project for the construction lab, and then the status of what we're going to do over at Sullivan East Middle. So after we get the final numbers from the purchasing department on Westridge, I'll let you know and determine whether we need to have that special call meeting. So no action at this time. You want to combine letters D, E, and F? Those are just general budget amendments. And then the ESSER amendment as well for some professional development. And then the summer literacy training stipend grant, just to move money from last year to pay back an employee.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we combine D, E, and F into one motion.
Motion by Mr. Hughes. Second.
Second.
Dr. Rouse. Any discussion? We are ready to vote.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Rouse,
Yes.
Yes.
Do we need to pass a motion tonight concerning the contingency money in our ESSER 3 grants that we talked about in the work session, or do we need to wait till another time to do that? I think it was 204,000 in contingencies that we talked
We
about,
talked about go ahead and
but
how do you want me to word that, Mr. Jones? Go ahead and walk me through that. I'm sorry.
I would suggest that we ask county commission to allow us to use up to 250,000 out of our fund balance to replace the contingencies that are listed in the ESSER 3 projects. And the contingencies money could be used then for capital improvements. And if we don't need that, it would go back into general purpose. But all we're looking for now is permission to use fund balance money to substitute for the contingency in case there's a need. Unless there is a change order, there won't be a need for it anyway, but we just need to be moving quickly. We don't want to lose that contingency money out of ESSER 3 that would go back to the state if we don't have it all spent. This would allow us to go ahead and get it spent.
Thank you.
Heard the motion by Mr. Jones. Second by Mr. Hughes. Ms. King.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Rouse,
Yes.
Mr. Spivey,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thanks. Clean that up for us.
Yes.
This brings us to our public comment section on non-agenda items, and I do have 2 individuals that would like to speak tonight. Mickey Gordon. Okay, that's fine. Are you Iris? So, you see my handy dandy little. You have 3 minutes to speak to us, okay? You ready? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Iris Gordon, and I'm a 7th grader at Sullivan Heights. I like the theater program because it's fun and it's helped me make new friends. In theater, I've learned to operate the stage light, spotlight, sound system, painting and changing backdrops, and acting. This class has helped me to be more confident and try new things. If this class was changed to an after-school club, some kids would not be able to participate because they could not get a ride home. Some kids don't want to do sports, band, or chorus, and this helps them find a place to fit in. Please allow us to keep the musical theater class at Sullivan Heights Middle School.
Thank you.
Thank you, Iris.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Gordon?
So I'm really proud of my daughter Iris, and I'll say, without having had the theater class, I don't know that she would have gotten up and spoken to you guys today, honestly. It's been really wonderful for her. She started off just doing sound and lights and then some painting and backdrops, and she enjoyed it so much. And it's really built up her self-esteem so that she's gotten up and acted in several plays, really wants to do this next year. I understand there's not enough teachers maybe to do that, but there's about 100 kids in this program. And that would be really too many to fold into, I think, another class. And there are a lot of kids that don't have the privilege of someone being able to pick them up after school, and often those are the ones that really need a class like this. And so we had a petition, and just in about 10 days, we got over 300 online and 140 in person. So that's the community support for a wonderful program like this. As a therapist and a professor, I know the value of these kinds of programs for kids. I taught my daughter how to use Google Scholar, and she did all the research. She pulled up all of the articles, the published peer-reviewed research, and there's tons of it on specifically middle school programs. It reduces absenteeism, it increases critical thinking, it brings up the language arts grades, even the math and science grades. So it's a great benefit, as well as social skills and the kinds of communication skills that kids at this age developmentally really need. They're in the industry versus inferiority stage, and they really need to be able to find something they feel good at. And theater is just really inclusive, and it makes a place for all of these students. I know that Johnson City has theater classes in their middle school. Kingsport City has theater classes in their middle school, and they're right now advertising for a full-time theater teacher. So I'd really love it if we could keep that as a class, especially since they have that beautiful theater from Sullivan South. It's just a really nice place. So thank you. Thank you for your time.
And definitely would be glad to set up a time to have you come in. Come in and we'll sit down and discuss it all. Thank you. No, sir.
That brings us to the end. We need to set a meeting date for next month, which would be April the 1st.
Right?
April 4th.
I think the first.
April 4th. Work session at 4:30, board meeting followed at 6:30. Do we need to do a?
Mr. Chairman, we may have a transportation meeting. We'll just go ahead and plan on that, and if something happens, we'll cancel if we don't have it.
Okay, sounds good. Yes. Twist. I'd just like to say, I was thoroughly impressed with the culinary arts kids that were here tonight. I don't know if we said it publicly, but they made us a little bit of snacks before we came down here. That's why we were a little late getting here. Really, really, really good. Really impressed at what they were able to do in that program. Also, congratulations to all the reward schools. That's pretty big accomplishments for our schools. It makes us proud to be a part of this system. And also, congratulations to Mr. Carter and thank you for all you've done for us as a system and what you continue to do. Also, I've got copies for you all of the evaluation I will leave with you before you leave tonight. But other than that, I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to let it start with Dr. Rouse down there.
I think you've said it all. I couldn't say it any better. We are so proud of our students in Sullivan County. We are so proud of our teachers in Sullivan County, and we are so proud of our administrative staff. Just very proud of Sullivan County as a whole.
Mr. Hughes.
First of all, thank you guys for coming tonight. It's always good to have speakers and especially students. Thank you. Congratulations to our reward schools, and I've been the beneficiary of our culinary arts department more than once on both schools. It's always really good, and congratulations. A little update on the Transportation Committee. We didn't meet this month, but I did find a garage, and the best I can tell, if we needed to do it, we could make that work. May have some news for you at by the next meeting. So really, that's all I have at this point. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Spivey.
I know we talked about it a little bit in the work session, but I really want to highlight, I know that when people take an opinion poll and say they're for school choice, when it's phrased as should parents get to choose, highly in favor of it. I agree with that sentiment, but what is going on at our legislature right now is not that at all. So if you care about a community, in our community, you really ought to look at these bills that are being proposed. In essence, it's taking mandated money by law that comes from the local property tax base and sales tax. That's what generates our local school budgets. Mandated by law, it has to come back. Half of that has to come back and go to public education. Counties are the only entity in the state that are mandated constitutionally to have to provide that education. So that's how they fund it in Tennessee. What is happening and has happened over the last year with the passage of TISA is the money follows the student. It makes it easier to pass a voucher program, which was in the works before TISA was passed. And so I just, all of this has become, in my view, way too partisan. The same legislature that in the dead of night during COVID passed a bill that made school boards partisan, but then sold it as a county gets to decide. They don't get to decide, a party gets to decide. Who controls a party? The people that are already in power. They changed the rules, how you get in a party, how many times you have to vote in the Republican primary, and then they run with a letter beside their name, and everybody votes for them. I know I'm going on a soapbox, but I care about this, and if you care about public education or our community, it's got nothing to do with partisanship. It has to do with educating children. We have plenty of laws in Tennessee that protect against the diatribes that politicians spew about indoctrination of children. Our children are more than protected. What's going to happen if this voucher bill passes is they're going to take our local dollars that are mandated to come back to us. And in Senator Lundberg's bill that just passed today, that money can actually leave our district, our county. So our tax dollars can leave our county and go get spent somewhere else. And then what happens? School systems shrink down. Who's one of the largest employers in this county other than that jail over there? The school system. What happens when people don't have jobs? How are property taxes and property values? What's one of the number one factors? People with kids, it's education. We have wonderful public schools here. That's why I moved back to Northeast Tennessee when I was 18. I said I never would, but that's part of the reason I moved back was because we have a great abundance of choice up here. We have 3 very high-performing public school systems in Sullivan County that serve 160,000 residents, and we have three great choices, depending on where you live. But the only one that's constitutionally mandated to do it is the county. And there's no accountability in that bill. So I said it in the work session, but I want to say it again. I mean, it really is akin to saying, well, you know what? I have parental choice. I want the portion of my tax dollars that goes to public works and city parks, because I don't want my kids to have to play at the park with those other kids. I want them to go to the country club. So I want my tax dollars for the park so I can take my kid to the country club. And that's really what vouchers, that's who it benefits. People that don't need the money. And then putting politics aside, what are the two words of community? It's common and unity. I mean, we don't pay taxes just for our kid. We pay it for our community, and we all benefit from it. You don't always have to have a return from just doing what's right, or preaching the morals that we all believe in. But I'm just very frustrated right now, and I feel like too many people in the general public, just because a letter's beside a name, are willing to vote for something without looking at the impact it could have and will have on public education. In my view, as I've said for years, this is a plan to destroy public education, and it will not help the students that need it, the students that need special services, those kids that need a little bit of extra help, that might have dyslexia, like the program that they've started doing at Rock Springs, that if they don't learn in a public school in that critical period, they may never read. Well, what does that impact have on all our community? I could go on, and I'll be quiet now, but I just really urge everybody to look into these issues. It's not about parental choice, in my view. If it is, I'd like to hear the argument how it is and how it's actually going to benefit children, because there's no evidence across the nation that these school systems provide a better education, and they get to pick whoever they want and exclude whoever they want, all with your public community tax dollars under the current bill. And I'd like to congratulate the reward schools for doing so much, just like all our schools do, with so little. And also, I applaud the director. Congratulations on your extension, but also the whole central office, and just also how well they've managed all these ESSER funds to provide maintenance and upkeep for our public school buildings with zero maintenance budget that has been set by our county commission, not by this school board, for the last 6 or so years. And then finally, food was outstanding. So congratulations to both of those programs. Maybe we could have even more programs like that and things of that nature if people cared about public education and spend a little bit more of that money. They seem to be willing to throw $300 million as a poison pill to public education while they're destroying it with the other 140. So maybe they could split the bill apart and just give public educators that $300 million. Thank you.
I wouldn't even attempt to follow that presentation, but I totally agree with everything that Mr. Spivey has said tonight concerning the vouchers and concerning the proposed legislation. And I hope that you have taken time to read that. I've read through the bills and looked at those things, and it's very confusing, but at the same time, it's very damaging to our school system and to our communities. And tonight we got to see all these reward school presentations showing that we are doing a good job in the schools, and I hope that we don't do anything statewide that's going to set us back and take money away from the things that are happening tonight, even the things that the young lady asked about as far as the theater is concerned. It's important that we as a community stick together, and it's as important that we stick together based on facts and not based on emotions, and I would encourage you to do that. First off, I want to congratulate our reward schools. Also, the culinary arts, the food they fixed us up there. I was kind of like Carter. Wasn't real sure what it was, but it was all very good. And congratulations to Carter on his extension. I think that's well deserved, and it's a big step for our school system, I believe.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn? So moved.